On our previous episode, we left Bannock State Park and its haunting ghost town buildings. We then headed through Butte, making a stop at the World Museum of Mining, where we pick up today.
Well, the World Museum of Mining, the sampler tour, what we're going to call it today. Quick in and out. I was there almost exactly a little over like an hour and 4 minutes or something like that. So an hour. For $12, I think that's worth it. I could have spent more time. I could have spent another hour or two like looking in every building, and if I was here having a leisurely day, I probably would have. I enjoy this stuff. But you know how we do it here. But really for this, it's more to give everybody an idea, like, hey, like that's something you can do in Butte.
In 1,000 feet, turn right onto Bluebird Trail.
Will do. But anyway, so now we're going to cut across town to go see some other mining history. This one, maybe not as pretty to look at, but basically a giant open pit where a lot of the more modern mining occurred in this town, so not underground mining. In fact, I don't know, I've watched someone else's video once about it. Why, I don't know, these things get done and then I think there's a lot of like toxic dust and stuff maybe that can blow around. I don't know if that's true or not, but it might be. But still, like when I see open pits, what is this guy doing here? Is he gonna go in there or does he want me to go around him? Oh, he's parking, okay.
Turn right onto Bluebird Trail, then slight right onto West Park Street.
So open pits, I've had one or two people give me a really hard time before about, featuring that on my channel. So I want to address that before I head over there and tell you my thoughts. I just want to say I'm not a fan of open pits either. I do marvel at the human engineering and the human ability to do something on that scale. So I have an interest in it from that perspective, but from an environmental perspective, that stuff is important to me too. I get it, I get that it's ugly. Some people are like, well, why can't they just, why are these companies not required to fill it back in when they're done? And I'm gonna guess 2 reasons. It'd be too cost prohibitive to do that. And it would be unstable. I don't think you can just like fill loose dirt back in a hole and expect it to fit the way it went in. So it's probably a very dangerous thing on top of it. So there's probably other reasons too. But so it's not about celebrating it, being like, yay, let's do more of that. But there's a recognition too, like our modern society, if you're using a cell phone, your TV, anything like with metals in it, and where does this stuff come from? Like, so if people are going to complain about it and simultaneously have the things that require and create the demand for that, there's hypocrisy in that, I would say. So unless you live in the woods barefoot and doing everything with your bare hands, I guess, then you wouldn't be a hypocrite. But consider that, I would say. Consider what you have for your modern tech. Question, where do you think it comes from? Do you really want people to work in underground mines? Probably a lot more dangerous, a lot more death and injury, and a lot more expense in this consumer society. So to fix these problems, I think you have to treat the underlying symptom. I mean, do humans need to crave, do we need a new phone every year? Do you need a new car every year? Would that tame it more? I don't even know. Can we set our sights to space, to mining asteroids one day and moons? I think we will eventually. And I think the metal would be much more rich on asteroids and things like that. But, so, no, I'm not here like, rah, 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 this is awesome. It's a combination of fascination with, wow, humans can do this. And a recognition of like, yeah, I understand, like I enjoy modern tech, so I know stuff doesn't magically grow on trees, just like your hamburger doesn't grow on a tree. Someone's got to slaughter a cow and do that, The world has its darker, uglier sides to satisfy our taste, and looks like we're in this historic district. This is cool. I'll just keep rolling as I drive through so I don't interrupt, but this must be downtown historic Butte. We're basically cutting across town here. This is a beautiful little town. There's beautiful architecture here. An old YMCA building. The Motherlode Theater. This is a really beautiful town. Really has got an old feel to it. And it's quite sad. I mean, this is a big deal town, I think, really, with mining. And I want to say, I'm hesitant to say it, but I just saw a documentary, so I think I remember. Is this not the hometown of Evel Knievel, who we were reminiscing about on one of my last videos, where we visited the Snake River Canyon jump site? So tying it into that a little bit, but Miners Hotel. I would love to I should have just scheduled time to come down here and walk through these streets and window shop and check things out. You can actually see the pit mine straight ahead. All right, I'm gonna just roll because we're gonna get good views of this thing from up here, but you can already just see the immensity of this thing just cut into that mountain, like layer upon layer, with such geometry cut in to it. It's a giant facility too. I don't think it's operational today, and there's another really giant head frame that probably was in your field of view at some point when I was coming around the corner, but it very much,
1,000 feet, turn left.
it actually very much looks like the one we just saw. Same style, same robustness. And what I'm doing here is there's like a viewing platform you can walk out to overlook this giant pit. I don't know if this is one way.
Your destination is on the
I think I
right.
just did a boo-boo and didn't realize this is a one-way parking lot, which makes it harder to park, but that's all right. We're gonna make this work. I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. The Butte police are gonna come and arrest me, and I'm never gonna go home. Before I head into this little exhibit, look at that. There's that head frame I was just commenting on. Actually, I think there might be 2 head frames, if not a third. I don't know what the third thing, the smallest one of the set would be, or even if the middle thing that I'm looking at is a head frame. It kind of looks like one. But see, that has that same thing. I don't know, but I don't think anybody's actually working, or I don't see any activity, so guessing it's from a different time. So this thing is called the Berkeley Pit, the viewing platform. It's like $3 to go do this. So another bargain budget thing to check out on our way up to the wilderness today. Well, okay, so here's where we focus on human engineering, and we just kind of set aside anybody's distaste for the moment. And I'm already impressed. I haven't seen this thing, but they've got a truck there that's rated to carry 170 tons of material. The Whitehall truck, made to move mountains, it says. And then we're here at the pit. They've increased their price, I'm guessing, recently, because it even said $3 online. It's $6 now to come in, but I paid it. And there's the tunnel we get to walk through. I feel like I'm in some kind of a underground bunker or something. Keep hearing footsteps behind me. I think it's a trick of the echo. Oh, I feel like we're going to see the Grand Canyon or something like that. Like from that little slice I see, it looks like something like that. Like we're in some national park, only to reveal that ain't no national park. It is the Berkeley Pit. So some quick info, I was reading the signs, and this thing stopped operations in 1982 when they stopped pumping water out of some of the mines, and then this thing filled up. And then that caused a danger to the town's groundwater. So they now have to make sure they pump out enough to maintain, to prevent the groundwater from becoming contaminated by sulfides. So basically there's an elevation where you don't want that water to come up above, or else, yeah, it would start to contaminate the town's drinking water. Yeah, these things do have environmental impact, very serious impact if not managed correctly. People could become very sick and ill, if you contaminate the town's drinking water. So yes, there are valid concerns, but never said there wasn't. And you can see little buildings there for scale. Good reflections in that water too. It is strangely beautiful though, in a weird way, with you got glass, like no waves on the water, and nice reflections. Probably be pretty in the early morning light, maybe better in the afternoon. You can pretty much see they just cut that mountain almost in half. And if I'm computing correctly, I want to say, I'm not looking at the sign, although I got some footage of it. I think it might go down like almost 1,000 feet under the water to the bottom. I think it was like something around 4,000 feet at the very bottom of the pit, and the level they're trying to maintain is around 5. I'll consult the sign here in a second and validate. Another environmental impact is to birds. So this is interesting. I guess they try to deter birds from going in the water. I was wondering where all the ducks are and stuff, but they use like lasers and drones and things to, I think, scare the birds away, so the birds don't get sick and die. So it's toxic. It's a toxic thing. Anyway, that was very interesting, very cool, and concerning at the same time. See, I'm fair. Like all aspects of it I try to consider, and there are groups helping to mitigate the environmental problems that this can cause. It's recognized, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what all the right answers are with this sort of thing. But it's at one hand scary and one hand fascinating, for me anyway. I plotted my route to our next and final destination. I just am gonna make a beeline for it. Of course, I'll probably see views along the way, stuff to record from the truck. And if I see something worth stopping for, I will. Because I actually am now quite ahead of schedule. My anticipated arrival time, 4 hours and 13 minutes of driving to get to Big Creek Campground, right outside of the West Glacier entrance, basically in the National Forest is where we're going. And I was supposed to arrive at 5:30 p.m. I'm gonna be 2 hours early, and I should be arriving around 3:30. So I've got excess time in my itinerary, mainly just because I spent less time at the mining museum than I had planned, because that above ground thing was kind of just a quick circuit, and I got a little bit of an early start, and I'm not doing grocery shopping and stuff in town because I've got many days worth of food left to consume, and canned goods and all sorts of stuff. So and I still have 2 kale salads to eat. So I'll probably restock somewhere up around West Glacier at some point at a general store or something like that. But anyway, we're gonna head on out and see what we see. I was just thinking of the irony of this whole episode where, you know, I'm going
Left
to
onto
maybe
Mercury Street.
what here? One of the most idyllic. Oh, this is awesome. It's taking me this way.
Continue on Mercury Street for 3/4 of a mile.
I thought this was an entrance to a facility, but apparently it's just a street. So I'll complete my thought in a moment, but this is cool. What I was going to say is leave it to me. You know, I'm going to be maybe fishing in some of the most pristine waters you're going to find in a beautiful setting in the woods near Glacier National Park as part of this episode. And then we looked at a highly toxic pit and all this mining stuff is part of it. So two complete contrasts I'm realizing, but I like mixing it up a bit, you know? I didn't plan it that way, but it was just kind of occurring to me like, boy, that's not really the best pairing of things. So if you need a palate cleanser after that, understand, and you will have your palate cleanser. Alrighty, well, I guess at this point, I'm gonna, kind of like the other day on one of my trips, I got a lot of driving done without filming anything. I'm actually contemplating doing that, and maybe even like packing up the camera on the top of the roof for a couple hours maybe. I might do that actually. So for like long spells on the interstate, there's another head frame. This is the town of head frames, but I'm gonna basically just do that to help protect my equipment, not over film, get a couple hours under the belt. And then somewhere up the road, if things become really scenic, I will mount the GoPro again and we'll resume our usual programming. But Butte, I don't want to say it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful for one who enjoys mining history and stuff, but in other ways, kind of scary. Why hello again. For you, it's been probably a split second. For me, it has been, gosh, maybe 3.5 hours. I have 54 minutes left, I think, 40 miles left to go to our destination, and I haven't filmed anything this whole time, and there was definitely some worthy spots on this drive, very scenic getting up here, but I opted to not record because it rained maybe for a couple hours out of the drive. It was very rainy. And I'm not afraid to put the GoPro out in the rain. It's made for that, but it would look stupid. It would just, you'd see like splats of water all over the lens, so it would be pointless. So I decided it wasn't worth it, and also I think I have to come back this way, the same way. And on that day, I'm really short on things to film, I think, if I remember correctly. So I figured, hey, we could get a lot of that beauty on the way back. Like Swan Lake, for example, is a really beautiful area I drove through here in Montana. But anyway, I figured I just filled up. Very few gas stations. Very different experience driving from Butte. I wasn't prepared for how little services there would be the whole time. So luckily I had my tank topped off and everything, but I've stopped at a small gas station just a few miles back, topped it off again, because I really don't know what to expect out here. But what I can tell you though is it has gotten much more mountainous in the areas I've driven through, as evidenced right in front of us here. So, and everything is a scenic mountain highway out here. But this is kind of, you know, what I've been seeing now for a while. A lot more pine forest. We're in kind of a, I don't even know what the name of the town was I just drove through, but it's absolutely beautiful up here. And nice, and the weather's cool. I'm chilly out there, so I need to get some warm clothes on, I think, by the time I get to the campground. Another thing it's taking some getting used to. I like it, and I simultaneously don't like it and feel nervous, but the speed limits out here on roads like this, just 2-lane roads, is 70 miles an hour most of the time. So I like it because you can make really good time, and I have. But at times I'm like, geez Louise, this is a little excessive for 70. A lot of curvy roads and stuff, and they don't really give guidance on what, how fast you should go. So I think it's common sense. And most people I notice drive with common sense up here. But just something I'm not used to seeing, like just little backcountry routes, 70 miles an hour. Essentially doing great. I'm feeling great, very positive, happy, feeling strong, hungry, ready to eat. But I'm glad that today worked out the way it did, and I didn't overdo it in Butte, because now when I arrive, it'll be 2 hours earlier than what I thought. And I really, really, really need to cast my line in the water. I got the Montana fishing license, so I need to get my money's worth out of it. And at Bannock, I don't think it was really worth fishing to catch anything. I don't think I was going to. It would have just been worth it to practice, maybe, my casting a little bit. But also it's a very small creek, so that might even, I was probably gonna lose some lures at this point, snagging it on stuff. So not regretting not fishing at Bannock. And I'm pleased with what I ended up doing and how much time I invested in actually documenting Bannock and getting, hopefully good footage for a future narrated episode that I want to do on it. Yeah, the mountains have gotten bigger, like I would expect. But other than that, here you can see now we're kind of approaching the northernmost sections of our state in Montana, or in our nation, I should say too, because Canada's not going to be too far by. I can't believe that I'm not terribly far from Canada, and I may even drive up to the border on some forest roads that I found. That's actually what I have scheduled for tomorrow, for at least half the day. My video tomorrow, kind of an good old-fashioned Cactus Atlas dirt road drive. I chose what's supposed to be easy, 1 out of 10s, 2 out of 10 at the worst. But then again, the other day in the Glacier National Forest, what was fixing to be a really easy drive turned out to be pretty technical at the very end. I didn't even film some of it. So you never know what you're gonna get.
Turn right onto Montana Scenic Loop, Mount Highway 206.
All right, we got a scenic loop, so hopefully it's what it is. I'm probably just gonna roll the camera on top and not really talk, and I'll try to capture some of the scenic beauty, if this really is a scenic road. We're heading straight at the mountains now. And we are 32 miles away, 45 minutes according
Head
to
northeast on Lake Blaine Road.
Google.
Continue on Lake Blaine Road for 1.5 miles.
Look at that. That is beautiful. Alright, having a slight issue here. Google is absolutely flipping its mind out. I've never seen it do something this weird. It had me go down this way. It literally told me to do a U-turn and go all the way back the way I came. So I started to proceed to make the U-turn, and then it says to go down this road. So my confidence level is like, what the heck? Why? I'm not really in like, I wouldn't consider this like a really remote area, but hopefully it's not gonna screw me over. We'll find out. At least I guess we're going north, which is the right direction, according to my compass. I'm gonna have to start navigating just via compass. I actually really thought about, in this day and age, just over-reliance on technology works like 95% of the time, but sometimes, man, it just is bad. So paper maps, I think, I was telling my wife, Amy, I just need to invest in an atlas, the Cactus Atlas, but invest in an atlas and do it the old school way. And if you want it done right, do it yourself, basically. I love technology, and it works great when it works, but sometimes, man, like right now, I don't know what it's doing. I think it told me to do a U-turn, and I think it's basically now taking me a very roundabout way back to where I started. And then what? And if not that, I don't know what we're gonna do. I guess I'm gonna have to like manually figure it out. I'll just pull up Google Maps and figure it out. Luckily it's beautiful out here and I'm technically not late, but now my time is being pushed back because of this silliness. But I guess one positive is you get to see some sections of Montana and how the other people live. Lucky people. I get to live with this scenery. I mean,
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Yeoman Hall Road.
I really feel like it's taking me right back. Let's watch, it'll have me drive in a square and like basically in circles. We'll see. But I do get a close up of these mountains, which is awesome, so. Yeoman Hall Road. There's like nobody out here either. I'm like in this weird area that doesn't make any sense at all. Like why it would do this.
Continue on Yeoman Hall Road for 1.
All right. I think it's straightened out now, I hope. We got 8 miles and then a left turn, but we are going north. So that's correct. I really should be checking the weather when I can. I checked the weather days ago and everything was looking great. But I think it's been a little bit more stormy and rainy than the earlier forecast, which is fine. I know I was looking pretty far in advance. And I'm not afraid of a little rain. We had some last night and everything's fine. As long as I can get the tent set up and get everything straight, then whatever happens, happens. I'm good, but I'd rather not try to set up a tent in the rain. I don't really have a good way to do that. Other than try to wait out for the rain to stop for long enough to start it. But my vision of tonight, if all goes according to plan as I arrive, my site's as beautiful as I think it's gonna be, and I'm gonna we'll get camp set up. We're just gonna focus on that. We'll explore the grounds. I watched somebody else's video of where I'm gonna be staying, and I was pretty floored. I was like, this is heaven. So we'll basically have plenty to do there, including casting a lure in theory, right there on my back porch for the next 2 nights. By the way, I'm staying in this National Forest campground for 2 nights. Then I'm transferring inside of Glacier for 2 nights. And then after that, we turn and we start heading south towards Wyoming, basically. And we got a lot of road trip left. I mean, I think my first week will be in a couple days, so we haven't even officially finished our first week, if you can believe that. But coming back down, I'm staying in some prima locations, so I'm staying in places like 2 days at a time instead of 1 day. So you probably could see how I've been doing this, which is basically arrive, set up camp, spend the night, break down camp, move to the next one, and so on and so forth, mainly just to get to the top of the slide. And then from there, after we're done up here, it should all be a nice downhill pace. goodness, we are just 4 miles away. You could see the North Fork of the Flathead River. And this might be the worst road I've ever driven on in my life. It's got like the consistency of pavement with washboards, like really hard washboards. And Google says the speed limit's 70 here, just FYI. Even though I saw a sign back there that said the speed limit's 35. My gosh. What is up with this road, man? Anyway, my river is right there, and it's more beautiful than I ever could imagine. I think going the other way must be better, because I don't know. I was wondering why on Google Maps the last few miles took so long. Now I understand. It is 35 miles an hour here, by the way, so if you're ever driving here and you're using Google Maps is right now, I'm looking at it, says the speed limit is 70 miles an hour. So I think most people have common sense. Or heck, maybe I should drive 70 and the washboards wouldn't be so bad. But you gotta be careful in areas like this. I noticed that on Google Maps a lot. I'm like, it could not possibly be 70 miles an hour. Oh, this is luxury. Look at this. That is nice. That is like smooth as butter.
In 800 feet, turn right.
And there's a sign, Big Creek Campground, and I'm looking for site 14 as my reservation for today and tomorrow night. So it looks like we go right. It's probably just like river access there,
Turn
but
right,
we're
then
looking
continue
for
straight.
site 14. They do have a campground host back here, and it looks like they sell firewood, maybe. Something I might opt to do actually for once. And it looks like I see the campground icon pointing this way. Yep, this is kind of what I remember from a video. So there's site 12, and these people got like 3 people in that site. Site 13, I think I'm the next one. I am indeed. I am really close to site 13, which it is what it is, but I'm gonna back on in here and it is all mine, all mine. And here is my first impression, my first look. And this is heaven. Absolute beauty here. There's a bear locker. I'm guessing that's mine. Site 14, I'm gonna guess. I have to figure out whose is what. But they're not too badly, they're spread out good enough, I'd say. I'm gonna put my tent, I think, right over here, and I'm gonna be hearing this all night long. Now you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm going straight to the river. People are out there fishing, they're waiting. I'm gonna do the same thing. Oh my gosh. I chose wisely, I would say. You can see deeper water out that ways. That's probably why they waded out like they did. So I gotta find some good spots, but this is heaven. This is as good as it gets, I'd say, when it comes to camping. I can smell other people making campfires. It smells wonderful. Well, I guess I'm gonna get to it and try to start getting things set up here so we can try to make, I got plenty of time. And the sun sets, I think, after 9. We came so far north. In the summer, the sun sets a lot later, so I got all the time in the world. Wow, 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 wow. And there it is. The tent is set up. I can tell you the rain fly was still soaking wet as it was this morning. But now that I have it up, it's already dried in short order. Just needed some sun and some breeze, but perfect place for a tent. So we kind of start the episode off with a very toxic pit, and then we end it here. I don't think we're quite done yet, but you know what I mean. Kind of a contrast. Like I said, it wasn't planned that way. I'm gonna guess you have to wade out a ways. It's so shallow here, there's not gonna be any fish, I don't think, in these rapids, in these shallow rapids. I think they're gonna be, you can see that darker color across the way and slower moving water. According to my studies, that's probably a good spot. So like those guys had it, they kind of waded out there so they could cast in there. So I may just cast from the shore just to practice my casting and not worry too much about even catching anything. So we'll see. Look at these giant mountains like right here across from me. I almost don't want to go anywhere. I'd be happy staying here for 4 days and not going into Glacier, because I hear Glacier is pretty much a really crazy national park, like timed entries, the whole thing. So I don't want to have another Yosemite all over again, but I fear it's going to be kind of like that. But I'm here for work, keeping objective and focused on that, to film campgrounds basically. So I'm not going to stress over it if it ends up being like that. But I'm sure it's jaw-droppingly gorgeous in there too. But when you find little places like this, I mean, it's hard to want to go anywhere else. All right, I just talked with the host. Very nice. Very, very nice. Had a great conversation. She's living my dream in that she and her husband are up here. She actually is from Austin, Texas, and has a remote job, so she's working via Starlink, you know, playing campground host and doing that as her daytime gig. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to get a gig where I can be a, you know, software engineer, but whenever I want, probably not all year round, but maybe in the summer months, hit the road and just live out of my tent and code during the day, and then document campgrounds in the evenings and weekends and days off, basically, is my dream, my current dream before retirement. So I have to find a company that, there are good companies out there that would be cool with it. So that's gonna be my quest when I go home and really crank up that job search. Is I've got a list of companies I'm gonna start applying to, and yeah, but she's doing exactly what I want. And but anyway, she did say, we did talk about the bear situation. So there are grizzly bears. I think they have one of the highest populations of grizzlies in the country in this area. They're not tagged, so I suspect there's really no way to know if they're roaming about. But she said there was one coming through here, sniffing through the campground. Interestingly though, so the bear lockers are shared, and I've got a big group next to me. These people haven't shown up yet, and that's like right in their sight. So I asked her, what about the vehicle? Not my preference, by the way. I don't want a bear tearing up my truck, and I know what they can do. But I asked her, do you have any of the bears that know how to crush in windshields and stuff? And none of them have done that. So she says you're okay leaving stuff in the car or your vehicle. So some places that they would not even let that. You can get fined in some places. You just have to check. But here, they're okay with it. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna have to do, because these people have a huge group. They got 3 cars worth in that site. And then these people haven't arrived yet, but I just feel awkward because that locker's facing their side. I'd literally have to go in while they're eating dinner and be like, hey, everybody, don't mind me. So, not sure why. And some sites seem to have their own locker. So I don't know why they just can't give each site one locker. That's my preference to do, but I'm gonna just keep things tidy, she said. Keep things clean, don't leave things out, which I always do anyway. So I'm sure I'll be fine, but my biggest worry is I don't want a bear climbing up on my bed. Got a lot of dried, dehydrated, sealed foods, which could emit something that a bear could pick up. But I just don't want one jumping up there, and I mean, it could rip my tonneau cover off like a piece of paper, you know, it would be no problem, and then damage my truck would be my biggest worry. And I don't want to encourage bad behavior for bears. So anyway, that would be something I'd be interested for those of you that camp in these regions. What do you guys think about that? Put things in your vehicle, or the bear lockers probably would be the preference, but what do you do when there is no, you know, like here in this situation, there's likely no place for me to put it other than my vehicle. So do you think places should have one locker per site? Let me know. She also gave me fishing tips. They have bullhead trout, I think she said. They have cutthroat, rainbow, and then she said something like whitefish. I don't know what that means. I'm not really that experienced yet as an angler. If you're new here, I'm kind of learning from the very beginning. So you're gonna see the biggest noob fishing that you've ever seen. But she gave me a tip and said there's some trail down there that you walk down, and she said that's probably where some of the best fishing is. So I am highly doubtful I'm gonna cast in here and catch anything. I think I'd have to get way out there. I'm just basing this off of my studies on the internet, and ChatGPT AI is helping giving me tips too. It's kind of funny. So, but you know, I do see like a lot of deeper, slow moving water out there on the side, and that's kind of what I was told is a good place to go, but I'd have to like almost walk across the whole river to get to that. I didn't bring waders or anything, and I do have water shoes though, so I might go do what those guys were doing and head out there and cast a few, but we'll do some warm-ups in a bit, right here. Oh my gosh, Christmas came early. Look what I got. Another kale salad. Doesn't seem right, does it? Not when you're sitting here with this view. This is where a beer and a hot dog or a beer and a hamburger is the more appropriate choice. But that being said, you know my backstory now, so I am being very serious about my nutrition and trying to do things right, especially now that I'm 50. So as much as an ice cold beer sounds so good right now, I'm kind of done with drinking, I think, after my situation. Although the doctor did say I can drink moderately. I haven't really been a big drinker anyway, but these are the moments though where, I don't know why it sounds right, but an ice cold bush beer I think would be the appropriate choice, maybe followed by PBR. Although PBR today, is that still a hipster beer, or has it gone back to its roots again? I don't know. But cheap beer is meant for camping. I like tasty beer, you know, fancy beer, but you know, one thing I do not do though, no hangovers on trips. And for me to get hungover now at this age, probably 2 beers would be, I'd have a headache like every single time. So no thanks. All I'm saying is, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, but you gotta do what you gotta do. At least it's offset by that. You know, I did do a study of bears before I came up here and their olfactory powers and their intelligence too. I underestimated all of it. I mean, I knew they would smell good, right? But I didn't realize, like, you know, they could pick up like like just little microscopic particles like from miles away. So, because I was like, you know, chatting with ChatGPT about what it would smell like, canned goods, for example, or, you know, something completely sealed. I was like, there's no way. But that's not true. Because like I've got a lot of dehydrated meals, they're sealed, they don't expire, some of them until like 2034. So I'm like, how is it gonna smell something sealed like that? Well, there could be residue from the factory, like food residue on it. There could be a defect in the packaging or something. So even a canned good that's never been opened, a bear could potentially pick up on that. It just blew my mind, like how powerful their noses actually are. I want to say it was like 7 times stronger than even like a canine or a dog's or something like that. And this is all AI ChatGPT stuff, so it gets things wrong sometimes, but it equated its intelligence with that of almost like a dolphin intelligence, which is super intelligent for an animal. So then I started thinking, then why, you know, I know they can kind of be trained, but not fully, but I'm like, why then do they do the stuff they do? But I guess they're just individualists. They're not really social creatures like dogs. So you couldn't like train them to not do stuff like that. But I'm a believer. It's something now, like I've always followed the rules, but I really just thought they were like a little excessive sometimes, especially the ones where it's like, oh, you're gonna be fined like hundreds of dollars if you don't put things in the bear locker and leave them in your car. But they can do that. And I read about accounts of, it may have been Yellowstone or something, of a grizzly sitting on a windshield, completely crushing it in to access the car, and other bears can witness it and actually learn the behavior by watching another bear do that. So there could be regions like that. And I asked her, I was like, have they tried to break in cars or trucks here or anything? And the answer is no, not yet. So I guess that's why they're more tolerant here of storage in the vehicle. But just something to share in case you didn't know that. Like, research it yourself, and if you know better than me too, comment down below and educate us all. Oops, I just spit out some salad. I fear that's on my face, but yeah, I'm just like, what? But it's true. You know, I was just thinking, like, having a remote job, sitting here with Starlink or some equivalent of Starlink, set up, like doing my coding thing as a software developer, like working on the CampView app, working for an employer doing it, doing Zoom meetings from right down by the river. I'm the type that's very committed. I wouldn't be messing around. I'd give them their money's worth for sure. But it's just like when the day's over and you got something like this to go home to, I think I do my best work. I know I do my best work in a setting like this. It's just every once in a while you look up from the screen to rest your eyes and you see that. It's fantastic. I'm a member of the Clean Bowl Club. I ate the whole thing as usual. So let's go fishing. Dun, dun, dun. I'm pretty much, just consider me brand new at fishing. I fished a lot as a child, but I wouldn't even count it. It was basically using treble hooks with garlic cheese bait, casting it in, not using like a bail, but just like a kid's, you know, reel with a button on it, and just throwing it in the water, and usually in very stock streams where you got to be trying not to catch something, so not very sporting. And then as I got older, you know, nobody I knew fished or whatever, so I just kind of stopped. But I kind of took a renewed interest in it recently, and I wanted to start doing it. So I am starting from square one. I don't have a teacher or mentor with me. I'm using YouTube, AI to help coach me on what to do. So I'm gonna film myself casting and stuff. I would love actual advice and critique. I won't be insulted unless you're being an asshole. We know the difference between that and not. I'm just give me constructive criticism, which 99.9% of you would, and we're good. And all I really want to do today is, I don't think that this is a great place to fish. I think it's too shallow, although it is getting later in the afternoon and we got shade. I think that deeper, slower moving water on the other side is probably more of what you're looking for, right? So comment down below and let me know what you think about that. I really just want to cast and improve on that like I did the other day. I don't care if I catch anything today at all. I'm just gonna start with that and see how it goes. All right, I think I'm now casting successfully more than not. Not saying it's the best form or technique, but I'm actually getting the lure to go out in the direction I'm casting. The challenge now that I'm learning, the problem here is that this current is so strong, I'm casting it up there and immediately the lure is just going downstream. So as I'm reeling, it's really like staying really close to the shore. So this is something I think I kind of knew already, and it's more about learning how to cast consistently and understanding how the lure works. So I'm using a spinner, which I hear is good for trout. Looks like this. And I can see it, like when I'm reeling it in, it spins the way I would expect it. It's shiny, it looks enticing. So I see how it operates. But I think I need to be in slower moving water like that girl over there. I don't want to go steal their spot, but I think I might need to get my water shoes on and kind of walk out a little ways because, you know, this isn't gonna work very well. I need slower moving water to do this. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that assessment, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. But I'm pleased to say, compared to the other day, I already am feeling the improvement already just from casting. So I might do a few more casts on my own just to practice, but I think the fishing bug has bit me already. I am loving this so much that now I don't even want to make videos on this trip. All I want to do is just go explore and fish. But I think she's got the exact right idea. What I would like to do is get further out there where that water is moving slower and it's deeper. And once I perfect this, one of my goals is to actually learn how to fly fish. It's really what I wanted to do, but I don't think it was feasible on this trip with as little time as I have to learn, with a learning curve of that, to do that. So I decided not on this trip, but maybe in the future I'll have a personal trip where I'm not going to make videos and that's all I do. So hey, if you're out there and you fly fish and you want to hang out sometime and teach me, hit me up. And if I wade out into the river, I know I'm not going to be bringing this camera out there. I do have GoPros and I have a chest mount for it. Maybe that would be the way to do it. But I am excited because my watercraft, the SS Baller, still haven't named it something else, is an angler's kayak. So the next time I go do like the back haul at Glen Canyon, I could fish the whole way down. That's actually gonna be an episode. Maybe not this year, but next year. All right, I went back out. I actually put my water shoes on. And you can see I got a little wet. I went down kind of on the other side of these, and I probably went out far enough where I could cast in the deeper water and get the lure out there. But what I'm noticing now is I did buy a split shot, and I think I might need it because I'm using that spinner, and I'm noticing like in the rapids as I'm reeling it in, sometimes it'll kind of skip on the top and not stay down. So I'll probably try that later. But overall, I feel like I've got the knack for it now, and had a couple other faux pas where the line would get all tangled up and stuff somehow when I cast, but more and more there's less of those kind of shenanigans happening, and I'm now almost every time able to cast it the way I want to. That guy really worked his way downstream. I think his kayak is way over there, the orange one. Oh, he caught something, I think. He did. I'm zoomed in as far as I can go. Let's see. Yeah, he did catch something. So that, see, I think I was right. I think my instincts were correct. Or did he lose it? Uh-oh. I saw something jump, but I'm guessing he lost it. But there it is. Yeah, so that spot over there, my instinct told me that's where I need to be, and that might prove it right there. Whatever it was pretty small, I think. It's hard to see from this far away. Anyway, folks, I think I'm gonna wind this video down right here, right now. And I might go eat more. I had my salad as my warm-up, and now I think I might make chili for my dinner and enjoy that, and then probably get into that tent early tonight, start backing up clips, and then try to have an early morning tomorrow. I don't have to tear down the camp tomorrow, which is awesome, because I'm tired of that. Got one extra night here, so I can just get up, have fun, come back here, maybe seek out some better spots for fishing. And then certainly when we go out on some of these dirt roads, we will seek more of this out. So tune in to what probably should be next week's video to see that. And thanks for hanging out with me again on another road trip. I can't believe it. Where were we even this morning? I already forgot almost. But yeah, it was a long day, but a good day. So thanks for hanging out with me. See you on the next one.